Ooh, a spicy question. I
because
love
the writing is sort of everything, right? Like you kind of can fix plot holes, but if the writing isn't
So some
there,
readers love that, and some readers are like, but I wanted more of this. So it's kind of a gamble.
Hello and welcome back to the Right and Wrong podcast. On today's episode, I am joined by a romance author with a PhD in neuroscience whose debut novel is out very soon. It's Hannah Brohm. Hello.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
Thanks so much for coming on. Let's jump right in and talk about the book, your debut novel, Love and Other Brain Experiments. Tell us a little bit about what the story is.
Okay. So Love and Other Brain Experiments is a romance novel, and it follows a scientist, Frances, as she travels to a conference in New York, and her research contract is running out. So this conference is very important to her because she's hoping to network there and find her next job position. But the issue is that this event is organized by her ex, who has now become mega successful, and she hasn't spoken to him in 5 years. And the other problem she's facing is that her academic rival, who's called Lewis, is also in attendance at this conference. And once they meet there and get into an argument, their colleagues mistake this argument for flirty chemistry and assume that the two are a couple. So they miss the moment of clearing up this misconception, and because once the news has spread, it would be detrimental to their careers to admit that they lied. So now they have to keep up appearances and pretend that they're in a relationship. And for any good scientist, faking data, of course, is out of the question, but fake dating might just be the solution that they need.
Okay, great. So you've got some fun little tropes in there. I love that.
Yes.
And it's about neuroscience, or Dr. Frances is a neuroscientist, tapping into your own area of expertise there. Did you write a lot of your own experience into Dr. Frances?
Yes, I did. I basically took the context that I was familiar with, so the neuroscience context, and tried to pluck her story into that. And for me, being so immersed in that area, it was very, very important also that the science is right. So the best way I could ensure that was to talk about the research that I know and the type of neuroscience that I'm familiar with and that I work in myself.
So not only does the science, and obviously the book's not about the science, but it's always nice to know that those things are intact. Is it also the sort of like the procedures that having to go to get a grant and things like that? This is all stuff that you would have to do as a neuroscientist.
Yes, exactly. So I think actually one of the ways that I came up with this book is because I was in grad school at the time still, so younger than Frances, and I realized that this was a really good way. Writing this book was a really good way to deal with all the different frustrations I had around all of these procedures, but kind of like play them out in a way that either they worked out or I knew that they wouldn't work out, but it would be fine. So it was kind of like a way of supporting my mental health in some sense as well, and making light of those situations in a way as well.
Oh, okay, that's great. Sort of acting like your own little coping mechanism for things that were just frustrating. Oh, okay, amazing. Yeah. I wanted to talk about some of the tropes that you mentioned there, but first of all, just as an overhead, when you, as a reader, is romance your favorite genre to read in? Yes,
I do read widely, but I think in the last few years, romance has become the genre I read the most.
Okay, and you mentioned, so this is a fake dating. There's a big trope in this. And then also, am I right in thinking this is rivals to lovers?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay. And when it comes to romance, is such an interesting genre. It's sort of exploding in very different directions over the past few years, but tropes have become such a powerful marketing tool within romance. It's always fun to talk about them. Are there any like big tropes that people can expect within this story?
Yeah, so other than the academic rivals and the fake dating, I think STEM romance as a trope has become a bit more popular in recent years as well, because mainly with Ailey Hazelwood as a big STEM romance powerhouse, I would say. But there's also forced proximity because they're pretending to be a couple at this conference. And it's set over a summer in New York. So I guess that could count as a trope as well.
Okay. I didn't realize that was a trope, but yeah, now I think about it, yeah, it probably is. And you're on TikTok, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I imagine you've interfaced with the book talk space. Do you get a lot of books pushed onto your feed with that like list of tropes within them?
Yes and no. So I think for the fake dating and maybe the rivals to lovers, yes, I don't see so much STEM romance. I think it's because there aren't maybe as many books. There are more and more coming now, but
more and more, yeah.
I think it's also a bit more specific maybe than the other tropes. On TikTok, it's a weird mix. I try to kind of stay a little bit out of the reader space because I don't want to get too absorbed into watching other authors, like readers reviewing other authors. But I definitely do get some recommendations pushed my way there.
Okay. Yeah. As a reader, are these your favorite tropes? Are there more tropes that you haven't got in this book that you love to read?
Oh, there are many more, I would say. I think the question is more like which tropes I don't like as much, because I'm happy about any kind of like friends to lovers as well, or more like micro tropes like only one bed, these kind of ones. I like all of them a lot. Second Chance is a big favorite of mine as well. So yeah.
So which are the tropes you do not like? A trope where you're like, I don't know if I want to read that because I really don't like that trope.
Surprise pregnancy or unexpected pregnancy. I've read a few books in that direction that I actually really did like. So I would say never, but yeah, they're not necessarily a book. It's not a trope that I would gravitate towards if someone would tell me like, this is the book with that trope. Okay.
And I'm sure that you are well underway writing something new. Are there any tropes that you love as a reader that you haven't got in this novel, Love and Other Brain Experiments, that you want to, maybe not in the book you're currently writing, or maybe in the future, that you want to write?
I would really like to write a second chance romance, actually. I think it lends itself very well to kind of going into maybe a little bit more conflict within a relationship as well, because there must be some kind of reason why it didn't work out in the first time around. So as characters then encounter each other a second time, I think it's a very good opportunity to go into that and see whether they've changed or are willing to change enough to get over it at that point. So that's something I'm really excited about. And I also really, really like Marriage of Convenience, although I feel that's a bit more difficult to pull off when it's not a historical romance, because it's not so common nowadays anymore that people actually have to get married without wanting to in our society, I think.
Yeah, I guess fake dating is the kind of modern equivalent of that, because of like social norms and stuff.
Yes, yeah. I did read a great Marriage of Convenience romance last year that was revolving around marrying for visa purposes. So I think that's at least still a setting that works nowadays. But yeah, I think the fake dating is more accurate, or more realistic maybe.
And the stakes are much lower.
Yeah, that's true.
We're talking about potential crimes,
like fraud. Yeah, exactly.
On your website, I was looking at your bio and I saw that it says you actually published your first novel when you were a teenager.
I didn't publish it. It's just I wrote it then.
You just wrote it. Okay.
Yeah. I didn't publish anything. I think it's good that wasn't published, but yeah, I wrote it.
Okay. And of course, it was about vampires, naturally. Yeah. What else would a teenager write about?
Exactly.
So have you been writing basically, your whole kind of life since you were presumably a teen?
I wasn't, because... So I did write a lot when I was a teenager, but then once I started university, I stopped for a while because it wasn't my priority. I didn't have ideas or didn't feel the urge to write. And then during the pandemic, actually, I started writing again because I was getting more into romance novels, and I really liked how they gave me a lens into different realities, different work contexts as well. And that was what then gave me the idea to maybe try and write a romance in a setting that I knew well, to let other people into that setting, kind of. And that's when I started again. So I had probably around 10 years where I wasn't writing, and then I came back to it.
Okay. And did you write many books or like manuscripts before you got to Love and Other Brain Experiments, or was that the kind of first one and you just kind of worked on it?
I started another one before, but only got about halfway through, and then Love and Other Brain Experiments was the one that I started working on then, and revised it many times, and yeah, that's the one that's getting published. So I didn't actually write a full novel before this one.
Okay.
When I came back to writing in my adulthood, yeah.
Okay, so this was the first one that was fully finished, all in one. Okay, and then so at what point did you say to yourself, I want to try and get this one published to go into the publishing industry?
So I think it took me about a year and a half to write and edit it, and then I came across on social media via this author that I was following across this mentorship program, and they had openings, or they were opening the application process a few months later. So I thought that I could take that application deadline maybe as a point until when I would want to finish all my revisions, and I thought I would give it a try, and if I was accepted into that, maybe there was some merit to like trying to publish it. And then fast forward, I did actually get accepted into this program, and that's more or less the time when I started thinking that I could really, work on trying to get an agent, querying the book, and actually publishing it. But for the first almost 2 years, I was just writing it for myself and one friend that I sent it to read it. Yeah.
Okay. Did they give you feedback, or were they just reading it for like a fun sort of supportive thing to do?
In the beginning, it was more of a fun, supportive thing, which is very kind, because the first draft was actually pretty bad. But she read it for fun. And then after I was done with the first draft and I took notes myself on what I wanted to change, I asked her for input, and then she also gave me some more feedback. Yeah.
Okay. You're not the first person who I've heard. It's actually been given as advice, where people are like, when you're writing your novel, especially, before you have an agent, before you have any deadlines, to give yourself a deadline by saying, oh, there's a competition on this date, or there's an application on this date. It's a great way of sort of fake giving yourself a deadline. So it's nice to hear that you kind of put that into practice and it worked out for you. When you started querying, and this is something that I'm always interested in, because it's when people first write something and then they think, oh, now that I've written something, what do I do with it at this point? How did did this course that you went on explain to you how querying worked? Did you just go online and have to try and kind of research it yourself?
Yeah, so the great thing with the mentoring program that I did is that you're basically paired up with one writer or author who is already agented. And together with that, so the program is called Smoochbit. I just want to mention it here because it's ongoing. So it's still I'm a mentor in it now. And it's still out there, so I would recommend it. But yeah, you're basically paired up with an agented writer or author, and they give feedback on your manuscript, and they also have a look at your query and give notes on that. So it was very helpful with my mentor to not only get this feedback, but also to talk to her about the strategy that she used to query, and then take that over or make adjustments to that, and have someone with me basically along the way.
Okay. Was that program genre specific? Was that just for like romance novels?
Yeah, so it's for romance novels, but it can be any kind of age group. So there is YA and adult are accepted, and it can also be any kind of crossover with romance. So I know that in the past few years, also fantasy romance or like horror romance and these kind of crossover genres have become more popular.
Yeah, absolutely. When you did start querying, was it quite a long process, or did you actually find interest quite quickly?
For me, it went quite quickly in the end. So
amazing.
The first step for me in querying was within this program, they organize a kind of query showcase where all mentees in the program put together kind of an overview of their query, and then agents are invited to view those materials, which was very helpful because this way you already get within a week an impression of whether your query materials are working to some extent, because agents will be requesting more or not. And after that week was over, I had quite a few agent requests, so I submitted my materials to them and then started querying more widely as well. And it took from there, I think, about 3 or 4 weeks until I signed with my agent, or until I had the offer, and then I signed a few days later.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, I think those kinds of events, because there's a lot of different courses and programs like you did, where they do at the end do a sort of showcase, that kind of event where agents are invited, or a sort of collection is sent out to agents who have signed on to it. I think those are so helpful. If you don't end up actually getting connected with an agent through that, just to, like you said, know that the package that you put together for your query is good, kind of get a sense check on whether that's actually working or if you should revise that package a bit.
Yeah. So in my case, I actually found the agent that I ended up with didn't request from me during the showcase, or she didn't even participate in the showcase. But the good thing was that because some UK agents, I believe, want you to send them updates if you get full manuscript requests, I came out of the program, sent her the query, and then a day or two later, because I knew I had those full manuscript requests, I could then follow up on that email and kind of like put it on top of her pile of cold queries. And I think that helped a little bit as well with getting my manuscript in front of eyes outside of the showcase as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Because agents don't want to miss out on something. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, yeah. We are going to pick up this thread in a little bit and talk more about querying agents, editors, but we are at the point in the episode where I ask you to pack up your things because you are to be snowed in at a cozy woodland cabin in the middle of nowhere. Which book would you hope to have with you? Okay,
so I picked one that I think is maybe a little bit unfair because it's not out yet, but I have read it already and it's coming out soon. It's called Deathbringer by Sonia Tagliarini, and it's a romantic fantasy book with dark academia elements and a murder mystery. So one of the reasons I picked it was that I really liked it when I read it, but also it has kind of a bit of everything that you need, I think. And just to tell you a little bit more about the book, it's it has a really interesting magic system where the two main characters practice death magic and the other one poison magic, and they have these kind of relics that can come alive and become snakes that either kill or heal. And the murder mystery is basically that our main character's sister used to go to that school but turns up dead at the beginning of the narrative. And now the main character wants to figure out what happened, decides to go to the school, and there she runs into Silas, who is kind of like an academic rival as well, who doesn't like her at first glance. And he might just be the person that she needs to figure out what happened to her sister. And I read an early draft of that one last year, and now that it's getting published in April in the UK, I believe, I really can't wait to read it again. So I would like to take that one to the cabin with me. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Well, that's a beaming review. It sounds great. They're really fusing a lot of different genres and settings together with that mixture. I mean, it's very... Yes. I mean, like you were saying with romance earlier, I've been talking to people about what they think the next big trends might be in publishing. And I think just combining lots of different genres might be the next big trend, because we all want to see all these things kind of working harmoniously together. So this sounds like it really ticks all the boxes.
Definitely. It was a page turner for me when I read it. So I would most definitely recommend it.
Okay, amazing. I think that might be the first time someone has chosen a book which they've read but isn't out yet. So you might be the first on the podcast to do that.
Okay.
Nice one. So next up, we are going to continue our chat going back to the sort of publishing journey and continuing on from the agent stuff. That will be in the extended episode, which you will be able to find at patreon.com/right and wrong.
The way that I see the world. So it's easier, or those ideas come to my mind, to feature those kind of characters as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what's kind of the thing that you know the best, right? And what are people always say, write what you know. So
yeah.
Keep it safe. Awesome. That brings us to the end of the episode. Thank you so much, Hannah, for coming on and chatting with me about your publishing journey and your debut novel, Love and Other Brain Experiments, which is out February 12th in the UK and February 3rd in the US. It's been so fun chatting with you. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure. And I had a very good time for this first podcast episode of mine. Yeah.
And for anyone listening, if you want to keep up with what Hannah is doing, you can find her on Threads and Instagram at Hannah Brohm, or on TikTok at hannah.brohm, or her website, hannahbrohm.com. She also has a newsletter, which you can find on the website. To support this podcast, like, follow, and subscribe. Join the Patreon for ad-free extended episodes, and check out my other podcast, The Chosen Ones and Other Tropes. Thanks again to Hannah. Thanks to everyone listening. We will catch you on the next episode.